The final part of our model that we need to adjust is to bring in the cost for hiring and firing workers. Now, we already have costs that are associated with every other aspect of employment, meaning basically the regular time wages. So we only have these two things to add. Now, there's always a question of when you add additional items in a list of, for example, in this case, costs, where do you put them? Now, the easiest thing and the suggested thing is to always insert within a list. The reason why is if I insert the two rows here, go ahead and go through this. It's a little cut off, but I'm choosing the insert option on the menu. You'll see that this total here will adjust. And I'm going to hit the F2 button, and you can see it includes the additional two cells. While the answer may have these two additional costs listed at the top, there's no real reason here to have an order. Let me show you what can happen if you inserted them directly at the top. I'll go ahead and insert the two rows now, starting in row 31. Now watch what happens when I come down to my total cost and hit the F2 button. It does not include those total rows. It's an easy error to make. So instead of having to go through that process, I always suggest when you're adding rows, go ahead and insert them within and then move things around as necessary. Be careful though with a move, because when you move things, sometimes it in itself will adjust formulas. Let's add these two additional costs. We have basically the hiring cost, and we have, to make it pleasant, the workforce reduction cost. We've already checked the regular time wages in our earlier video, and we know that that formula now is correct. Hiring costs are not difficult. It's simply equal to how many we are hiring in that month times the cost of hiring each individual. This is going to be in our parameters. It's in C8. Now again, before we hit enter, let's think about how we're going to enter this or copy this formula over. We're going to copy it to the right, hence these references will want to move to the right. The reference in cell C17 is okay. It will move correctly from month to month. But the reference in cell C8 needs to stay there. Hence, let's hit the F4 button to add the absolute reference, hit enter, and now let's copy that over. We can test that here in a minute. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for workforce reduction cost. It's equal to the number of employees laid off times the cost of reducing these workers per worker. And again, we're going to lock down our reference to C9. Hit enter. Copy this across. Quick formatting. In general, when you're working with a list of things that are dollars, you want to format only the top entry. I'm going to go ahead and copy using my format painter, which you can't see, it's off to the right, and I'm simply going to paint over those two groups of cells. So now the big question is testing them. We certainly can check our total cost again with the F2 button, and we can see it includes those two new cells. Let's go ahead and hire somebody, and let's fire somebody. We should see precisely the numbers in the parameters show up. Again, to make this more clear, let's go off a few cells and hire 10 and fire 10. And you can see exactly the multiple of 10 showing up again in our costs in column F. So this seems to be working. I would think that the copy apparently was done successfully. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and clear out these cells. And so now we have a truly functioning model that we could use without any version of solver. We can literally by hand use this model to come up with an effective production plan, allowing us now to hire and fire employees to get our production to get us the lowest cost in meeting the demand that we have in these 6 months.